Arriving at the starting spot for the Cannonball Challenge. It's a Red Bull garage in New York.
So now we're on the clock.
Yep. Here we go. And our red light already.
We're recording video of the whole trip in here. And up in the corner you will see a time up there. That's an hour and minutes of the total drive. We're going to let FSD, the full self-driving in the Tesla, do all the driving on this trip in here. Sometimes we will mess up, and a few times we also have the car make a mistake in here. This time we urged it forward and it ended up getting in a bad spot in here. We're now about to enter the first new state in here, New Jersey. It's inside the Lincoln Tunnel, getting out of Manhattan. We had nothing happening going through New Jersey in here. We're now entering Pennsylvania. Prevent people slipping in front of you. Sometimes we urge the car forward, and this time we got a little too close and FSD disengaged in here. Took a second and get back on again. Another thing about closing the gap is that sometimes if you exceed 85 miles per hour with a few miles per hour, then it ended up disengaging, and it won't re-engage until you stop and start. And this one happens one time here on the trip, so you see how you get rid of that as fast as possible. A quick stop, open the door, lift your butt from the seat, get back in the seat, close the door, hit the throttle, and probably 10-15 seconds and you back in driving again. We're now getting to our first charging stop. It's Bloomsburg in Pennsylvania. We've been driving 2.5 hours for now. At each charging stop, there will be a screenshot from Scan My Tesla in the beginning, and there will be one after the charge also, so you can see arrival and departure state of charge in it. We record at normal speed for the last part or incidents. At surface street, we'll do 4 times when it's on regular FSD, and on highways, we'll be doing 15 times. Basically, 2 of the frames from the original video ends up being what you will see at that point. So every half second you'll be able to see a frame from the original video. Driving in a FSD, you have to pull the steering wheel, and sometimes we end up pulling a little too hard here. Mill Hall in Pennsylvania is our second charging. We are planning to arrive with under 5% to get the optimal charging in here, and this time we get around 3%, so we're doing pretty good. The video here on regular FSD is sped up as 4 times as mentioned. A lot of the highway driving with nothing happens has been cut out, but there's another video that have all the details in and have the full drive at 15 times. Another issue with pulling too hard on the steering wheel. Can't wait to get the next version where you just watch your eyes instead. Clearfield, Pennsylvania, our third charging stop. Was a little too much power here. We have a little over 5%. We want to get more down to 2, for example. Here we are messing up. We forget to hit continue trip. So we're still going for the same charge that we just were as. So we have to take over for a second in here and then fix it on this. We are now entering Ohio. Fourth charging stop here in Girard in Ohio. Broadway Heights in Ohio is our fifth stop. It's on the rest area. It's very quick in and out. We're making a mistake in this rest area. We're turning the FSD on too early. It's quite complex to get out of here, and the routing is not that good here. So we end up first turning it off, driving a little, and then getting into a spot where I try to get to the gas station. And we do not need gas, of course. Our sixth stop is at another rest areas. Is in Girard, Ohio. We are now close to 9 hours into the trip, and we're still doing pretty good on arrival. Indiana. That's why in the movie they say they don't know if there's a death penalty for speeding. Indiana also like old style the toll roads. You have to take a ticket here, and then you pay as you leave the state at the other end, or as you leave the toll road at least. We end up staying on it the whole length of it. Our seventh charging stop here in Hove, Indiana. Uh, Again, a rest area, extremely quick on and off. Taking a ticket for a toll road, of course, also end up at one point you have to pay for it again. And we have reached the end of the toll section, so we manually have to stop here and pay like a minute off FSD. Portage, Indiana is our eighth charging stop. we arrive here again with a pretty good state of charge. We're now entering Illinois. Peru, Illinois is our ninth stop. We are at a shopping center this time, so it's a little further off the road than the very efficient rest areas. Iowa, 15 and a half hour after starting in New York. 10th charging stop in Walcott, Indiana. It's at Iowa 80. It's one of the largest truck stops in the country, so there's a lot of services. Another issue of pulling too hard in the steering wheel in here, only a few seconds off FSD. Grinnell, Iowa is our 11th charging stop. It now have started to rain. It always has to rain, as in the movie when you do a Cannonball channel. We wasn't sure if the car was going to exit, so we ended up taking over so we didn't have to drive too far and come back again to the charger. We're at 3%, so we don't have too much to play around with. Twelfth charging stop, Des Moines, Iowa. We are now 18.5 hours into the challenge. I think we ended up pulling too hard in the steering wheel. Even if it says it's a car error, I think it was probably a driver error. I can't see why the car would disconnect for a second. Another driver issue. We had the navigation volume set to 0, and we've kept on forcing the car to stay in the outer lane by using the flashers. So we had to disengage when we realized we were going to miss it here. Thirteenth charging star, Shelby, Iowa. We are now driven close to 1,200 miles. We had issues with the iPhone that we used for recording. First of all, we ran out of space, and then we have to move it, and we could only move 4 gig at a section. But we ended up missing 2.3% of the driving because of all the issues we had. We're now entering Nebraska, a very long state when you drive east to west, or the other way too, by the way. There was no way we could avoid this charger in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's our forced charging, and it's pretty far off the road, and we ended up messing up pretty bad here, arriving with 15%. So of course we charged too far at the slower part of the curve at the last stop. This V2 charger is going to be our 15 stop. It's in Grand Island, Nebraska. There's two stations available in the front, but we plugged in multiple times and none of them would actually work. And then we moved over to another stall and it worked perfectly in here. So we lost a minute or two. This one is our only issue with the failed charger. Everything else basically worked pretty perfect the whole way. No wait, and except for at the end where you see that we end up overheating the battery and getting slow. Kearney, Nebraska, we ended up on V2 charger charging way too much, and we arriving here with 20%. Pretty big mess up. We are now hitting the 24-hour as we pull into this chargings. North Platte, Nebraska, another mess up on state of charge. Arriving with 20% is a lot of waste in here. Ogallala, Nebraska, our 17th charging stop. Another mistake, 22%. I'm not sure why we made it so bad on here. We end up losing more than 1.5 hours by charging too much. After many hours in Nebraska, we're now entering Colorado, another large state, and a lot of mountains to get across. Brush, Colorado, our 19th charging. We now have spent more than half the time, and again we have messed up and arriving with way too much charge. Brighton, Colorado, 20th charging stop. It's getting a little better, but we're still arriving with way too much charge in here, 11%. Still on the flat part, so we will soon hit the mountains on our 70. This FSD disengagement was more for safety. There was a temporary roadwork for painting, and they put the cones way out at the end, and the car was basically slaloming between them. And they had not changed the speed limits, so it was trying to maintain way too higher speeds. We just took over and drove a little, and then temporary roadwork disappeared. Idaho Springs, 21st charging stop. Again, too much charge in it. We need to be better at calculating, or now we basically have the number for a second run. Rifle Colorado, we are needing to charge pretty deep because we want to avoid Grand Junction. That is a very inefficient place to get to. So we want to make it to Green River, going for 80%. Navigation was wrong when leaving the last charger in Rifle. So we had to stop and start FSD, and of course this one is one of the missing points where we had no footage. We were really fighting with space on the iPhone and trying to cut it up in smaller pieces to move it to a Windows computer. But there is no footage of this issue in here. There was stopped traffic on the interstate, and we disengaged FSD just to be on the safe side. Again, this one is where we have no footage of this part of the trip from all the issues we had with recording. We made it to Utah. We are now 35 hours into the challenge. Green River in Utah. We calculated pretty well last charging that we could make it here on 80%. So this one is again going to be quite a long drive. It was number 23 charging stop in here. Green River is again one of those charging stops that is not really close to the highway. Or it's close, but there's a lot of driving on surface streets to the charger and away from the charger. Richfield, Utah. We got charging last time pretty well, and it's some long stretches out here. Yeah, we now 39 hours into the challenge when we're leaving this charge out here. Cedar City, 25th charging stop. We are now getting close, over 40 hours into the challenge. After St. George, you enter Arizona for a little time. There's really nothing in that part, and we will soon get to Nevada after we get through the very pretty gorge. Nevada, it's getting really desert and it's getting really hot here now. Even this early in the morning, it is close to 100 degrees. Mesquite in Nevada, it's our 26th charge, and we need to charge a good amount, but we both messed up last time and we ending up messing up and charging way too much in here. Again, we end up also using the air condition in the car and also trying to cool the battery. It is not optimal staying in the car too much. Here we have messed up again with the footage. We are entering Primm, Nevada, right on the California border. We charge too much and we end up going to charge way too much again. Big mistakes. Right outside Primm, yeah, we enter California. No more new states. Now we just need to get to Portofino in. You see a lot of tires exploding out here in the west when it's get this hot. We just took over to be on the safe side. We couldn't make it to our expected charge. We had to stop here in Yermo for 5 minutes just to get enough charge. Again, arriving way too high state of charge. We should have charged less last time and planned for this stop. The next charger in is a busy shopping area in here. We are getting here, but we stepped on the brake by accident in here, so we have to. Car did pretty good at navigating to the charger. Getting to Hesperia, California charge. It's 111 degrees outside, and the battery is already at 61 degrees Celsius when we plug in. We end up needing to sit here for a long time because we make the mistake sitting in the car and using the air condition, and that limits the charge. And as you can see, the battery is 65.5 Celsius. The FSD computer is losing cooling, and you see the screen is constantly not showing cars. It's crashing multiple times from the temperature in. The camera feed also turns blank black when the FSD, as you can see here on side camera, as we have the blinkers on in. Just took the front trunk out and cleaned the radiator. It was super dirty before we left New York, but still at these temperatures it can't really keep it cold in here. It's 45 degrees Celsius outside, and it's equivalent to 111 Fahrenheit. We now stopped and let the cooling work for a little until the computer come back on again in here. The FSD now works stable, and we enabled it in a place where it basically ended up wanting to exit the parking lot, but we were on the wrong side of a little fence in here. So we took over for a few seconds and pointed it in the right direction. The car couldn't decide what lane to stay in, so we just took over for a second in here to prevent it from switching back out again. Is also on surface streets, many lights, and we even ended up with less than half a mile to go, waiting for some construction here out on the marina. But we're getting really close now, and one more turn and a roundabout, and then we will be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cannonball.
Cannonball! Yeah! Finish line!
So we made it. 49 hours and 34 minutes. 9 hours and 20 minutes of driving. 29 charging stops. Almost 2,800 miles or 4,500 kilometers. It's a Tesla Model Y long range. It had 80,000 miles on the odometer when we started. We counted 6 interventions and probably only really 2 or 3 of them that was really issues. Main thing was the FSD computer crashing. It's a lot of statistics on time, but 99.8% of the distance was driven by the car itself, and it's very doable to do this one.